Now we're going to look at acquiring sponsorships. When we think about this from a corporate perspective, right, the property, whether it be a team, athlete, facility, event, whatever it may be, they need to demonstrate a good fit with the brand image. So it needs to be unique to that brand. Geographic reach of the sponsored activity should cover an appropriately matched target market for the corporation or the brand. And the timing and duration of a sponsorship should fit within a company's expectations as far as length, whether it be short or long term, and how that coverage is going to come into play in a lot of different factors. We need to select the right event or sport to kind of create that sponsorship relationship. We need to access the customer's perceptions and attitudes, and then get an agreement of a desired image for a brand or company that we're working with. So that's like the first part of that. Then we can identify all the sponsorship partners for that desired image for the brand or company and the customer's perceptions and attitudes. I would make a short list from there of what sport properties or events would really match well with those customer needs and the desires of the company. After that, you'll meet with the desired companies or brands that you wish to partner with and really examine the different objectives as far as communicating with the customer base. What communication objectives does a company or corporation or brand have? Who are their targeted consumers? What risks are associated with going into that partnership agreement? What are the promotional opportunities, going into that agreement as well? Then we can look at a past history of both the brand, the company, and the event, and the overall cost from top to bottom for entering into that partnership. So let's say you decide to continue on with that relationship, and what you want to do is create a formal sponsorship agreement, and it's going to have a couple different things in it. Number one, it's going to have a statement of purpose. Number two, it's going to be very specific objectives as far as, specific with the terms and conditions related to those objectives. And then a description of the process by which the partnership will be evaluated. So when we get toward the end, how are we going to evaluate if this worked or didn't work? So here are some good questions to think about when you're talking about sponsorship acquisition. What does a sport property have to offer? What kind of things can we offer to the brand or the company? How many events will be held? And then we look at that as far as how long the events are, whether that's over a season or how long the events are per day. If you're having like on Saturday, it's gonna be 3 hours. On Sunday, it's gonna be 10 or whatever it may be. How many people will be involved as participants and spectators? That's both in person and through distance, whether that be live streaming or television or radio. And how extensively participation is shared through the broadcast media. So what are the markets going through the different media channels that we just mentioned? You'll want to have some knowledge of the spectators and participants, and these are the demographic variables that the companies want to know about the market that you're looking in or you're working with. Then you also want to have an inventory of all your marketable assets, the signage, the media opportunity, naming rights, events, promotions that all happen before, during, and after the event. When we look at sponsorship acquisition, we need to look at existing sponsorship in similar facilities. So if we have a baseball facility, we can look at what type of sponsorships a similar baseball facility would have. What type of corporations or brands are involved with that existing facility or event? Then we need to make sure we have a sponsorship package. It's a top quality presentation that outlines the sport or events offer of, as far as benefits to the sponsor. It also has a proposed partnership action to move forward with this if the sponsor or the corporation chooses to do so. So you'll want to do work behind the scenes, the advanced work and prep work, to make sure you're bringing together the sponsor or the company with the event or the sport where there's reciprocal interest, there's mutually beneficial resources, and the sponsor agreement is just the expression of the details of how these interests will be satisfied. But the interest and the resources have already been in place and are mutually beneficial to both. When we think about selling or proposing the sponsorship, we need to solicit interest in a face-to-face meeting with our prospective sponsors using a proposal brief. After interest is shown, we can schedule a meeting with the management executives who have the decision power related to the sponsorships or sponsorship partnerships. Knowing how the sponsor spends its marketing budget on other sponsors and sponsorship attitudes and stuff like that will help you in how you decide to move through this process. All right, so really we need to assess the response and examine if the property can realistically deliver what the sponsor wants. So after we have an idea of what they want, we need to really be honest with ourselves. Can we give them what they're looking for at the sponsorship that they want to give? We can schedule a second meeting with a detailed sponsorship proposal after we understand that. We can allow sponsors to intervene and modify whatever draft document we have, and then negotiate final terms and close the deal. Again, you want to make sure that you can meet all the expectations of the final contract or the final deal that you sign on to. And that's it for sponsorship acquisition and proposal.